Right now, the cluster of cells that sets your heart's rhythm can fire about 100 to 110 times a minute entirely on its own. That is measured with the nerves to the heart temporarily blocked in a laboratory. Your resting heart rate is almost certainly nowhere near that. The gap between those two numbers is the whole story. So here is what this episode does. What that number is actually made of. What it predicts across more than 1 million people. Whether a lower one is always better, which is the question you were promised last time. And what genuinely moves it, including the kinds of exercise that did nothing at all. Chapter 1, what the number actually is. Your heart does not wait to be told to beat. A small patch of tissue in the upper right chamber depolarizes by itself over and over, and every beat you have ever had started there. Take away every nerve and every signal from the brain, and it keeps going. That is the number you just saw. So why is yours slower? Because a nerve runs from your brainstem down to that cluster and holds it back continuously all day. Doctors call it vagal tone. It is the reason a resting heart rate of 65 is not your heart running at 65. It is your heart running at 100 with the brake on. That is the idea I want you to hold for the next 10 minutes. Call it the gap. The top line is what your pacemaker would do alone. The marker below it is what you actually measure, and the distance between them is how hard your nervous system is leaning on the brake. Push the other way and the gap closes. Stand up, climb stairs, get startled, and the brake comes off while the alerting side of the nervous system leans in. The number climbs. Sit back down, and the brake returns. Most of what your heart rate does all day is that one dial moving. There's a second reason two people can sit still at different numbers. Cardiac output is heart rate multiplied by stroke volume, the amount your heart moves per beat. A trained heart moves more per beat, so the same output needs fewer beats. Researchers are still working out how much of that slowdown is the nerves and how much is the pacemaker itself changing. Chapter 2, what the number predicts. In 2016, a meta-analysis in the Canadian Medical Association Journal pooled 46 studies, 1,246,000 people, and 78,000 deaths. For every 10 beats per minute higher a person's resting rate sat, all-cause mortality was about 9% higher. Group people instead of scaling them, and the shape is the same. Against the lowest band, people resting above 80 beats a minute had about 45% higher, all-cause mortality. I want to be careful with that one. The authors say plainly that they found substantial heterogeneity and publication bias. So treat it as a direction, not a settled size. And here's something you will not usually be told. A second meta-analysis, a year later and larger, put the same figure at 17% rather than 9%. Same question, two credible answers, and the honest version of this video says roughly 9 to 17% and shows you both. The obvious objection is that this is just fitness wearing a disguise. Fit people have slower hearts, and fit people live longer. Someone tested it. The Copenhagen male study followed 2,798 men for 16 years and measured their aerobic capacity on a bicycle. The association survived. Adjusted for fitness, for activity, for smoking, for weight, for both blood pressures and for cholesterol, men resting above 90 still carried about 3 times the mortality of men resting at 50 or below. It matters that this was healthy, middle-aged, and elderly men. The authors say so themselves. So a higher number travels with worse outcomes, and it is not simply fitness. It is very tempting to go one step further and say the fast heart is doing the damage. That step is not supported. The cleanest test we have uses genetics. Researchers took variants that push resting heart rate up or down and followed them in up to 835,000 people. Genetically higher resting rates did not track with higher all-cause mortality. And for different heart conditions, they moved in opposite directions, which is what a marker looks like, not a cause. There is one more study I want on the table because it answers the question you actually have. In Norway, 29,000 people had their resting heart rate measured twice, about 10 years apart, and were then followed for over a decade. People whose rate had climbed died of heart disease more often. Now the part that gets left out. In that same study, the people whose rate went down did not do better. The authors write that a decrease showed no general mortality benefit. So a rising number over a decade is a signal worth noticing. Driving the number down on its own is not a treatment, and nobody has shown that it is. Chapter 3, is lower always better? The range you have heard is 60 to 100. That is right, and the conditions attached to it matter as much as the numbers. The American Heart Association's own wording is 60 to 100 if you are sitting or lying down, and you are calm and you are feeling well. A number taken any other way is not a resting heart rate. So is lower better? The American Heart Association says so on one page. On another page, reviewed 3 months earlier, the same organization says a heart rate lower than 60 does not always signal a medical problem. Both of those are real, and they are both from the same body. Trained endurance athletes genuinely do run slow. In a 2025 study in Circulation, 465 endurance athletes wore monitors for a full day. 38% dipped to 40 beats a minute or below at some point across those 24 hours. Over 5.5 years, neither the slow rates nor the pauses were linked to worse outcomes. If you want one honest way to tell a trained slow heart from a struggling one, it is not the number. It is what happens when you move. The international criteria say the bradycardia should resolve once physical activity starts. A heart that speeds up properly when you ask it to is behaving very differently from one that does not. Here's where the guideline lands, and it is more careful than the internet is. The 2018 American College of Cardiology, American Heart Association, and Heart Rhythm Society guideline says that in sinus node dysfunction, there is no established minimum heart rate. What matters is whether a symptom and the slow rate happen at the same time, not the number, the correlation. Which means the useful list is not a number at all. It is a list of symptoms, and it is the American Heart Association's own: fatigue or feeling weak, dizziness or lightheadedness, confusion, fainting or nearly fainting, shortness of breath, tiring easily during exercise, chest pain. A slow number with none of those is a very different thing from a slow number with any of them. The other end has a definition too. Above 100 at rest is called tachycardia. But notice the word rest. In 66,000 people measured through the day, the average reading was 79, and the 95th percentile ran up to 110 in younger adults. One reading over 100 while you are living your life is ordinary. Chapter 4, the number in your hand. If you want the number the studies are talking about, there is a protocol, and it is boring. Rest for at least 10 minutes. Sit or lie down, then count. The two American Heart Association pages give different counts, so here is both: 60 seconds or 30 seconds doubled. Morning before you get up is easiest to keep consistent. Most of you are not counting, you are reading a number off a watch or a ring. Those work by shining light into your wrist and watching how much comes back as blood pulses through. It is called photoplethysmography, and at rest, lying still, it is genuinely good. Once you move, it degrades. Measured against a proper electrocardiogram in 53 people, error while walking ran about 30% higher than at rest. The reason is almost funny. The sensor can lock on to the rhythm of your arm swinging and mistake it for your pulse. Typing did it too in the opposite direction. Overnight, though, the good ones are impressive. A 2025 validation study put 5 wearables against a chest strap electrocardiogram across 536 nights, and the best of them sat within about 1 to 2 beats a minute. So the number on your wrist in the morning is not junk. But it is not the same quantity the studies used, and this is the part nobody mentions. Every brand computes it differently. One defines it as the lowest 30-minute average in a day and will not say when that window falls. Another uses only the first 4 hours of sleep. In that validation study, one major brand had to be dropped from the analysis entirely because the researchers could not work out when its number was measured. And your own number is not one number. In 92,000 adults wearing trackers with 32 million daily readings, a typical person's resting rate moved by a median of about 3 beats across a single week. Individual normals ran from about 40 to about 109. Age, sex, weight, and sleep together explain no more than 10% of that spread. The authors of that study put it better than I can. A single measurement of heart rate, they write, provides very little useful information about the current health of an individual, unless it is well outside the expected range, which is the case for reading your own trend against your own baseline and ignoring the comparison to anybody else. So what actually moves it? Endurance training, and this is trial evidence rather than an association. 13 controlled trials, 651 older adults, exercise groups against non-exercise control groups. The exercising group's resting rate fell by about 6 beats a minute on average, with individual results running from about 2 to about 12. Not everything worked. A larger review pooled 191 studies and nearly 13,000 people. Endurance training and yoga both lowered it. Strength work lowered it less. Tai Chi and Qigong did not reach significance, which does not mean they are useless. It means this particular effect was not there. Sleep tracks with it too, though here we only have association. The lowest resting rates showed up in people averaging around 7 to 7.5 hours. And going to bed well off your usual time, in either direction, tracked with a higher rate the next day. Nobody has run the trial that would tell us whether fixing it lowers anything. So, the short version. Your resting rate is your pacemaker's own rhythm with a brake on it, and the number is mostly the brake. A higher one travels with worse outcomes across more than 1 million people, and it survives adjustment for fitness. But genetics does not show it causing them. A rate that climbs over a decade is worth noticing. A rate you push down has never been shown to buy you anything. And lower is not automatically better, because a low number with symptoms is not the same thing as a low number without. If you want to do one thing with this, do the boring one. Measure it the same way, at the same time, and watch your own line rather than the range. And if a slow or fast number comes with any of those symptoms, that is the conversation to have with your doctor. Some treatments are designed to slow the heart and others slow it without meaning to, which is one more reason the number does not interpret itself. If this was useful, subscribe, because the next one is blood pressure at home. Why the reading in the clinic and the reading on your kitchen table so often disagree, and which one the evidence actually trusts. This video was generated with the help of AI, and it is education, not medical advice. Thanks for watching.